Hi, guys. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to come in, say hi, tell me where you're from. You never know, your neighbor may be stitching right next to you. I have some general announcements today. Hey, Priscilla, how are you today? And then we're going to I'm going to take some questions if there's questions out there. Everybody can hear me so far. Good. Hi, Sheila. Good to see you again. Um, because life is crazy around here right now. I will have to say, I feel like a one-armed paper hanger, if that makes any sense to you. If I turn around, I can see myself, I think, coming all directions. Hi, Robin. Good to see you. Hi, Carolyn from sunny South Texas. You know, we had rain this morning, but it's sunny out there now. Hi, Janice. Good to see you from Ohio. Hi, Tana. Good to see you as well. And Karen's telling me it's 80 there in Buffalo. We know that is not the truth. I spoke to her earlier in the day and she told me, what was it, below 30? And I was saying, well, you know, it's kind of 50 degrees here today. Right now it's 55. So it's a good day here in Tennessee as far as that goes. So Isle of Wight, wow, that's a ways away. So good to see you guys. I appreciate you coming and talking with me today and seeing what we can explore together. The first thing I was going to share with you is a class that Angela, she says it's 24 there in Buffalo, a class that Angela and I are going to teach in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to bring that up on my screen here and share my screen so you all can see it. It is basically going to be a beginner guide to embroidery. Let me do it to where it's a little bit bigger here. There we go. And I'm about to post a coupon code here in the chat. Save 10 is the coupon code and a link to getting to the classes there. We thought it would be kind of fun to do this together. We're probably going to do a series of different classes. This is just the beginning of it. So we're doing Embroidery 101. We're going to talk stabilizers, needles, troubleshooting, a little bit of everything. So that is the first thing on my list today that I want to say, because I will forget it if I don't do it in the beginning. You guys know me, and you know, if that shiny thing comes through, pop, I'm right there with it. The shiny thing, the squirrel goes through and I'm watching it. So hi, Tammy. Good to see you from Sarasota Springs, New York. I've never been there. What's that outside of? Kathleen's here from Scotland, and it's snowing there in Scotland as well. Wow. And Judy's here from my favorite city. And I love to say this one. I just feel like, what was it, Gomer Pyle that used to say, surprise, surprise, surprise. Yes, I have just dated myself. Hopefully y'all know what I'm talking about. So hi, Barbara. What part of Tennessee are you in? All right, guys. So we are, hi, Marge. You're just outside of Atlanta, if I recall correctly. You know, it's kind of one of those things. So this morning I woke up thinking, what are we going to talk about today? What have I not talked about? There's so much out there. Rain is buried in snow in Indiana. Well, you know, guys, there is a reason I no longer live in Michigan. And I know you hear that Michigan, Southern Michigan accent in my voice. But there is a reason that I no longer live there. And that would be because it is too cold and it snows very much. So, outside of Chattanooga, I used to live in Hickson and I lived in Red Bank for a little while. So, and I am not that far from you up here in Murfreesboro. And my brother lives down in Estill Springs. So y'all know where the family lives now, which is right on Thames Ford Lake. So you're by the Saratoga Racecourse. Okay. Hello from Kentucky. Susan's here from Fort Lauderdale, and it's 84 degrees. Okay, so we are all envious of you. You are the winner of the warmth factor today, because it's definitely it's better than cold than it's been here, but it is going to get very chilly here this weekend. Hi, Sharon. Good to see you again. So today I thought, well, we'll go back to a couple of the basics, and something I have not touched on a lot in PE design. I think I touched on it more in BES4, is the template designer. So PE design has one of those as well. And it also has a feature called name drops. Both of them have name drops in them. They work a little bit different in both programs. So that's where I'm going to start today. And if y'all have questions about something specific, I'll be happy to talk about that. But I was trying to think, what have I not covered? Boy, we have had so many of these. It's hard to come up with an idea of what we have not covered. So that most people might not know. So we're going to talk about that, and then we'll get going. So hi, Pat. Good to see you again. So I am going to share my screen again, and let's go to PE design. So when you open up your PE Design, if you have not turned off the Always Show Wizard on startup, you'll see this little wizard. And this is where you can get to the template designs all at once. And it's a really easy way to get there. So when I'm using templates, this is where I go. And there's a button right here called Use Template Design. Okay. When you click on that button, it's going to ask you if you want to save any changes. So if there's no changes to be made, you just say no and you get going, and your template designer will pop up and your PE design will flash away. And whatever's in your background will pop up. And so my embroidery class is still up there, which is what popped up. You have different categories that you can select from for your templates here. Oh, wow, Amanda, -3. And it's supposed to be like in the -20s for you all this week, isn't it? Woo, too cold. So you have aprons, you have bags, you have bathrobes, caps, jackets, kids' clothing, pants, samples, scarves, and sheets. Does that mean you can only sew them on an apron? Of course not. Does that mean you can only sew it on a bathrobe? Of course not. You can sew it on whatever you want. They're just categorized that way for you to try to give you an idea where something that you might want to look for might be. So if you were wanting to do a basketball bag, so yeah, I've chosen bags, here's the basketball, or here's one. We can go either route. You select it and you click next. And it has two fields here in red, and that indicates that the name drop has been applied. What that means is that substituted text is allowed, and you can adjust it to whatever you want. So if we touch the word basketball, if you click on it, you can either click edit text or you can double click on it. And we could say, let's see here if I can get typing correct. I'm going to say Murfreesboro. And then we'll touch double click or single click you can either single click and click edit text or double click on it to make it active Raiders. All right. So once you've substituted your text, you'll notice it fits into that text field. So if you had a long string of text, it might be way smaller than the Raiders. Just so you'll notice that my Murfreesboro is shorter than my Raiders. And that's because the space that is allowed for that name drops is only so wide. So if I go back up here and let's say we change this to Aloha Raiders, you'll notice that they're more proportional. So what it does is it shrinks that text to fit into that space. And you need to keep that in mind when you're designing. Now, can I change it when I get done? Of course I can. But in this initial screen, if you put in a long string of text when it was a shorter area, it is going to shrink that text to fit in. So you'll notice that my text is not quite proportional. PE Design 10 is the same as version 10. So yes, it's not the same as version 11, but the template wizard is the same in both of them. Okay. Marge, I do not have a new book for PE Design 11. I am still working on a supplement for that. If my life can ever settle down to where I can sit down and write, it will be a miracle. We're going to touch next, and you'll see that here is the screen that pops up. It has Murfreesboro Raiders in there, and it asks me what I want to do with it. So do I want to send it to a USB drive? Do I want to wirelessly? In version 11, I have the capability of sending wirelessly to any of my machines that are turned on that are wireless capable. So my 10 needle is capable and my Luminaire is capable, but neither of those are on right now, so I'm not going to send it there. Or I can send it to a drive. The other option that I can do once I've sent, let's say I send it to my E drive. Do I have one in here? I have no idea what I've got in. We'll see. I'll send it to the E drive and see what it says. Okay, so I can't save that. Let's try that here. That is weird. I'm going to go ahead and let's see if maybe Amazon. Yep, Amazon. So I'm going to send it to her, and this button down here will then activate. If you have sent it somewhere, it will automatically What happened there? Oh, sorry. I jiggled my USB drive. We're going to send it. I'm going to hit send. Oh. All right. I don't have a single machine turned on. Hold on. Let me put a USB stick in here. For some reason, it's not wanting me to save today. Let's pop something else in. Because I think I have read-only drives in. There we go. Let's try that one. Maybe. I'm going to send it. So it does not like me. It is not going to let me send that one for some reason. I may have to put in an error report. So I'm going to say edit in the design page. And it pops up and allows me to edit in my design page. So at this point, if I don't like the text that's in there, I can come up to my text button and I can select a different font style and see if I like that better. I'm not stuck with the font that I selected, that was selected for me. You get that option of changing it. You can play with any of them. And if you select something more long that's not as bold of a font, more than likely you'll be able to fit both of them in and then be proportional. So what did I pick for the first one? I didn't pay attention. Alaska. So let's do 36 on this one as well. We come up here and we choose 36. They're both Alaska now, and they are both more proportional. Okay. So yeah, it would not let me do that. Yes, I could save to computer, but it's already on your computer, so you don't necessarily need to save it at that point. Once you've got it adjusted the way you want it, then you can save it. So I would go up to my save as, and I would save this design as a design because right now it says untitled. Now, how do I know that it's name drops to begin with? If I scroll down in my text window on the right-hand side, you'll see that the name drops button is checked. But how I know that it's name drops is that it has red dashed lines around it. So if I want that applied, then that's how you know that it's been applied. Now, so let's look another way that we can get those template designs in. If I go to my import window, and I go to Design Library. And from my drop-down menu, let's see, is it in there? No, my template designs are not in there. So let's see, where are those bad boys? They're in here somewhere. Let's go to, oh, there they are, template designs. Duh. All right, so those same categories that you had in the template wizard in PE Design 11, not in 10, not in Next, but in PE Design 11, those same designs are here in your import window under templates. And you can just double click on them and they will pop up. And you'll notice that the name drops field is still there. So if you want to change your text, you go up to the text attributes tab in your integrated sewing attributes window. And you go down to the name drop list. And when you click that, that allows you to either substitute the text or add text to it. So I could put in Murfreesboro, go to the second, I press the tab key on my keyboard, and then I can add myself another line, and I could say, if you didn't want to do the team, you could put the athlete's name. So let's say we did Brad, and we said number 10. And we say Stephen. All right. Sorry, guys. Testing. Yes, you can hear me again, right? Sorry about that. I jiggled my USB attachment here. Sorry. All right. So you want to make sure when you create your new folder that you click on that new folder after you've created it, because otherwise it does not select it. Okay, so click after you've created it, make new folder, name your folder, click on it, and then click OK. Then you click OK again, and it's going to output all of those designs at one time. Okay, now it's finished outputting the name drop data. If I want to go see them all at one time, we're going to click cancel to get out of this window, or you could have said okay, either one. I'm going to go to my options pull down menu, choose my design database, because that's the easiest place I can go to see my designs. Amanda, I didn't mute. I actually accidentally moved my USB hub. And it is that my computer here has a little bit of an issue with jiggling. So let me go just to where we had, when my mouse hits it, I get a huge issue there. So over on the left-hand side, you will see the drives that are attached to my computer. If I click on this PC, because I put that on my C drive, I'm going to click on the plus sign next to Windows. And if I go find Cindy Facebook Live, there are those designs. So they're all there ready for me. All right. So you remember I said that I did not have a machine attached via wireless right now because none of them were turned on. Well, I have since turned on my 10 needle. Let me touch its screen to wake it up. But since it was turned off, I need to re-add it. So I'm going to go up to my options menu and I'm going to choose network machine settings. We're going to add that machine back in. So if I touch add, it'll search for the machines that are turned on my network. And Emma is the one I want. So I'm going to add Emma and click OK. And then I can select all of these designs at one time. I held down my shift key. I picked the first one, held down my shift key, and pressed the arrow key. There's not enough space because that's the E drive. So let's go to Rhoda down here. That's where I want it to go. You do have to tell it the direction you're planning on going. So I've got those selected. Let's put them back in the box. Then I can send those to my network machine right there. Now, what else could I do for these while I'm in my design database? Well, you can print out the designs so that you can print them as a catalog. Emma, okay. I may be having network issues today. Add them in, send them. There we go. So now they're outputted. They would be at my 10 needle waiting on me. What else can I do with these? I can print catalogs of my designs. If I come up to my file pull down menu and I choose print setup, okay, I can choose 4 designs per page, which is what I have, 1 design per page. I could choose 12 designs per page or template style. The template style, let's look at the print preview of that. If there's information that you have typed in about this in your keywords area in layout and editing, and I'll show you how to do that, then that information would be in these fields. You get your colors, you get how many stitches are in it and how many total colors are in it and when it was last modified. For me, that's the one that I usually search by, but it's going to do that for each of your designs that you have. So let me click off my single design. I want it to look for the whole thing. So let's do print setup and let's go 4 designs per page. When we look at print preview again, you'll see 4 designs per page. It will tell you where that design is located on your computer. It may have an abbreviated one, but you'll always have the name at the end. So don't worry about it. You'll always see the name, which means you can search for it if you need to. How many colors, how many stitches, and what size it is. The system unit depends on what you have set as your system unit in the software itself. So In the design database, I always choose, if I've been printing, inches in mine, so that I know what this is in inches, because we are not metric people here in the United States. My settings I use with metric, but when I want to know size, I'm always in inches. So it tells me how big the design is, how many stitches it has in it, and what the stitch count is. Okay, so that is something else that you can do here. There are many other things that we can do in this. You can look at large thumbnails, small thumbnails, details. The details gives you that same information we just talked about. You can look at the realistic preview of the design, and you can look up any properties that have been filled out about it. So speaking of those properties, let's go back and do one in PDesign 11. So if I want to fill in property information about this design, down at the bottom right-hand corner is your design properties window. When you click on that, you can type in a design name. So we can say basketball team, whatever you want to call it. If I can type today, you can put category sports, basketball. You can put any keywords that you want to put in there for you to be able to search for it. Who's the author, which is who's the designer. That would be brother. Your keywords would be sports, basketball, team, sports, whatever you want to do. And you could, in the comments, I might put what jersey I made them on. I might put what colors I used for it, or what teams I've done this for. Okay. Once I've done that, I click OK, and then I can go in and save this design. So I'll do save as. And let's do here, go see. Where's my C drive? Cindy, Facebook Live. Okay, so we'll call this basketball main. So when I save that, now if I go back to my design database, which is down at the bottom of my screen, and let's refresh this window. So Control R on your keyboard will refresh, or display refresh. There you go. So here's my basketball main template that I just created. So if I want to look at the properties in it, that's the information that I just filled out. If I want to see what it looks like in a template style, if I go to print setup and we choose template, print preview, and let's go to the last design. Actually, was it the last? Yep, it would be the last design. There it is. So you see author name is brother, design is basketball team, sports, basketball, sports, basketball team, sports for my keywords. And I did not put any comments in, so those are not there. Okay. Okay, Amanda, I'm going to come back and answer questions here for a second. I am not sure, is it only your computer, or can you show what's on? Oh, it can show you, you can see what's on your flash drives as well in the design database. Hold on, and I will show you that. If I have anything on a flash drive that it can read, it's possible. So let me pop it up. All right, so let's see here. If I come down and I look at my, do I have anything in it? I don't have an F drive. That would be why. Here we go. There's something on my SD card. Let's look at my B pocket. There we go. So yes, it shows you what you've got in there. Okay. Let me pop up here. Yes, Pauline, I can create a template from scratch, and I'm about to show you how to do that. That was my next step. Yes, putting what stabilizer you used with what shirt would be a great option as well. So it all depends on what you want to do, what information you feel like you need to keep up with, that you can fill in those properties. But those are a really nice thing for you to be able to fill out. And it's that little icon at the bottom of your layout and editing window. So let's go back over to layout and editing, and let's create a new one. So let me hit new page, and we'll clear our screen. because that one's already saved out. So, I mean, if you want to design your own, that's fine. I'm not going to design from scratch today. We're going to just pick something from our design library here. So let's say I'm making, I'm using PE Design, Cindy, PE Design 11. Let's say I am making wine bags for a local winery. And we'll say wine o'clock. So if I'm going to move them around and play with them a little bit. And then let's align them. Arrange, center. Now, if you want, and then I want to move it to center, so Control M for center. Let's say I want the wine arched. I can go over to my text attributes window, put a transform button in front of it, and pick the first option. That's that arcs my text over the top of it. Now, I'm not crazy about that arced text there. Let's just slightly arc it and see if we like it any better. That little arrow on the side lets you increase or decrease the arc. And it is tricky. You got to go slow, because it's regenerating that arc each time. That's a little bit too little. That's a little bit too much, so let's go back out. Go slow. Up. Oh, I cannot get in the middle. I can't get in my zone today. There we go. So that's just a little bit of arc, and I like that one. So let's say I want to have, you could have both fields be name drop, or you can have one field be name drop. That's up to you. I am going to have one field for right now, so I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and put a check mark in front of name drops, or once I've got that section of text selected, okay? So that section of text is selected. Let's take it off for just a second, because I want to play with my spacing, because I don't like the spacing between those two. So I'm going to move my character over just a hair. And now I'm ready to go back and put name drops on that area. So we'll put a check mark in front of name drops. Oh, it went back, so it doesn't make a difference. We'll hit name drop. Now, here's a button you need to know about. Maintain aspect ratio will make it stay proportional. If you don't have that check mark on, let's say instead of o'clock, I had Margaritaville down there at the bottom of it, or I had time. Let's do time instead of o'clock. Let's change this to time. And let's move it to the center there. All right, wine time. If I have time here, and this is a really good example of this, and I decide to put wine, and give me a word, guys. I'm having a hard time today. We're going to hit name drop list. Instead of time, I put in connoisseur. I don't know if I can spell that. Wine expert. That's not much bigger, but it's going to be somewhat bigger. Okay, when I touch OK, you'll notice that expert got smushed into that area. I did not have maintain aspect ratio, so it did not do it to where the letter, you notice how that area got smaller, the text got smaller when I have maintain aspect ratio, because then it keeps the text in proportion. Okay. So good one. Thank you. So I'll go back in and we'll do tasting as well. So the next one we'll do tasting. Tasting has to smush into that same space. If you have maintain aspect ratio, you'll notice a huge difference there. And you definitely would want to have it maintaining the aspect ratio. Otherwise, your text is going to look a little weird. So when you're setting up name drop, my suggestion to you is to pick the biggest word you're going to put in there at the beginning, and then everything else will fit in that space. So you don't want to start your team name with Sue when you've got Jonathan in there. Jonathan would be the first name that you would put in the team name as your team name. That would be your template that you would start from. Or, I mean, there's a lot of times that I'll just put in a gazillion H's till it fits up the whole space, and then any name that I put in there will fit in. So you can do it either way, or, I mean, it's up to you, but you really want to make sure that the biggest name you can think of is going to go in there first. So if I know it's Amanda Murphy as opposed to Sue Jones, then Amanda Murphy would go in first. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes, ma'am, it does cost to upgrade from 10 to 11, and I don't know what that cost is. I don't deal in pricing. That is not my, you'll have to contact your local dealer on that one. Yes, you can also search on your keywords. So if you put in your keywords, that is a search mechanism. When you're searching for designs in your design database, that's a great place. If you put them in when you're designing, that gives you that option. So if you know you're looking for wine designs and you've put in wine as one of the keyword searches, that would be an easy way to go. Lisa, what did I do to make you angry here? Or is an accident? You know, I've never put in so many comments that I hit the limit, but let's see if there is a limit. We'll go in here and I'll just type in my properties window. So let's see here. This is a wine design. I did. What day for February? It looks like you've got a great deal of content that you could put in here. I am creating wine bags using name drop. So I haven't found a limit. I mean, that's quite a bit of text, and usually I'm not going to do that much, but that gives you an idea of how much you get there. Okay. Oh, I was just wondering if I did anything to make you angry. Yeah, when you see that little angry spot, you're like, oh no, what did I say? Can I create a recipe template from scratch? Yes, you could. So if you would do each line. I'm not real sure what you're wanting to do there. That's more of a specific question, because each recipe is going to be different in length. So it would depend on the recipe itself. In order for me to tell you that, I'm not real sure exactly what we're asking, but let me undo what I just did. So anytime you see the one main reason I was doing this, anytime you see red dash lines around your text in PE Design 10 or 11, and I believe Next, yes, Next had it as well. That means that the name drops feature has been applied, and that means you can use name drops with it. But if you want to change anything, if let's say I wanted to try transforming it, I cannot do that with name drops applied so it won't let me do that. So if I wanted to make any adjustments like that, the only thing I can change about the font itself is the font itself. So it would let me adjust my font style, but it will not let me adjust any of the properties about that text once name drop has been applied. So if I want to do that, I need to apply name drops first. So do the transformation first, and then you can do sorry, I said that backwards. You need to do the transformation first, and then you can apply name drops. Okay. In PE Design 11, I do believe I can do multiple lines at once. So we'll test that theory. So let's hit new page. And by the way, if you use name drops last, it is going to still show up. I need to do Control Enter. Oh, you can't do that when you're transformed. So let's do here. Take off name drops first. Take off transform, and then we'll do Cindy's class. Control Enter, silly. Now, if I select that text and I go down here and try to put name drops, no. It has to be each field, okay? So it's been a while since I played with name drops, so I could not answer that question off the bat for you. Each field needs to be its own line of text, okay? All right. Oh, Sharon, I'm so glad you enjoyed the class the other day. And I will put up a coupon code for the book today. So you can't, to do multiple lines of text, you actually have to set it up, each line of text being its own line. So if I take out that second line and come back in and type it in the next time. So now I can put name drops on both fields. Oh, wrong button. Scroll down all the way to the bottom, put name drops on both fields, and I usually maintain aspect ratio. There you go. Okay. Yes, in multiple lines, yes. But you have to set them up separately. So now when I go to my name drop list, you'll notice that I have 2 fields there. Let's see how many fields we can get. I have no idea. I've never gone past 2, but let's see here. Now I'm about to show you something else. So we'll say Cindy's class is today. Let's go to our name drop list. You'll notice I now have 4 name drop fields here. Cindy's house isn't clean today. There we go. So because that second row was tiny, right? I mean, it was only is, right? So if I want to change this, I'm going to select that item. Let's go look at that. We're going to zoom to selected object. Notice how teeny tiny that made that. And this is a dashed line. It's not actually going to stitch, just so you know. Let's change that. That's a little bit too tiny. Let's change that to just isn't. So you can see what I'm talking about. Isn't clean is just too much for that one. All right, so it smushed it together, so you'll notice that I've got space at the top and the bottom. That's when these buttons at the bottom come into place. The first one aligns the text to the bottom of the name drop field. The second one centers it on the name drop field, and the third one pops it to the top, okay? So that is why that comes into play, because when you put maintain aspect ratio on it, it's going to ask you, okay, where do you want it in relation to the name drop field? If you don't have maintain aspect ratio on, you'll notice how it stretches that text up and smushes it in, okay? All right, guys. Any other questions on name drops in PE Design? Now, in BES, it is much different, but I want you to keep this in mind just before I forget this. If I come back, even if I close this program out and I come back in, when I start typing text, more than likely name drops is still going to be on because that's the last thing I did. I know it happens in an open session, but let's double check. It's been a while since I played with this one. Let's double check on it when we close it. If we scroll down, nope. All right, so it should have made it. It clears it if you close it down. So if you can't figure out why it's happening, why you've got red dash lines and you can't play with it, close your program down or take off name drops. Okay. All right. Let me see here. Come back and answer some questions. Okay, Marge, I am not writing a full book for 11. I am writing a supplement for it. Yeah, my site is out of stock. I actually have one in stock. It just hasn't shown up. I mean, I forgot to go change to say I have one in stock. So I'm expecting another stock in the next week, hopefully. So Sharon, I'm so glad you enjoyed the class. I'm going to put up coupon codes for the book, and those will be good through next Wednesday, I believe. So the BES class was a virtual class that I did last week. It was a cord keeper class. If you want to take it, it is still on my website. You would just watch the replay instead of the live action. So it is still listed on the on my site on virtual classes. And I will, what am I trying to say? If once you sign up for it, I'll send you the link to the private group. All right, banner. So let's give you all some coupon code. So here's the coupon code for lettering. Same one I always use. It just becomes active or not active. And here is the one for digitizing for my version 10 book. Okay, so DIG 10 is the version 10 book. LET 4 is the BES 4 book. So, and Tana says, my class was fantastic. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You know, that was a fun class. I enjoyed teaching it that way. It was an easier way to do it. So, all right, let's see. What else can we do? Let's see here. Let me take off comments and we'll go over to BES 4 for a minute. I think I've touched on this in BES 4, but I want to differentiate a little bit on it. Templates in BES 4 are only in the template wizard, okay, in the template, which is Power Pack 3, okay? However, having said that, you can create your own if you don't have Power Pack 3. The template wizard in Power Pack 3, as I said, is a add-on. Here's my BES 4. It's already open. Fiddle-dee-doo. When am I traveling again, Marge? It's not looking good. So right now, I have absolutely no clue when we'll be allowed to travel again. We have not been given the go-ahead, and I kind of have to follow brother rules since I am technically on the fringes of that, and anything that I do could cause blowback to them. There's nothing worse than, there would be nothing, let me come back up here. There would be nothing worse than us going to have a class and somebody get COVID and pass away. I would not be able to live with myself. I mean, I know it, you know, I wouldn't live with myself. So until this is under control, I don't see brother allowing their educators to go, and as a brand ambassador I pretty much have to follow those rules. It's not worth it. This is a better way to go. So I'm not planning on violating. So another banner class, like what we did with the Winters class, I may do one of those. Judy, I've got a lot of projects on my plate right now. I was thinking about doing a snap bag class, and if I can figure out how to work it in my schedule, I will. Right now, I'm a one-arm paper hanger running backwards. Not doing such a great job of keeping my head above water at this point. So I will probably do another one similar to that, but I have another class in mind that might be better. So let me see here. Oh yeah, the PR1000. That magnetic sashing frame is great. Yes. That the thing about the magnetic sash frame for the 10 needle is that you can use it for anything like a towel or whatever, but you can't do the auto quilt sash borders because those aren't built into the 10 needle. But it's great for multi-positioning things. It's great for holding thick items. There's a wealth of things that you can use that frame for. It's not just for quilt sashes. It's not just for quilts. So just keep that in mind. Yes, Sharon, I will be doing something on 12/15 on the Sewing Machines Plus live. I have no idea. I haven't been assigned. That's one of the things that's on my list of this week, but I haven't been assigned the assignment yet to know what I have to plan for. A yard flag on the 10 needle. Yes, it's the BES4 cord keeper is what the class that they're talking about. This is what we made. So it's our own little cord keepers, and I use them for everything. It's a nice little easy beginner BES4 project class. Okay, so let's go back to BES4 now that I've answered every question so far. I think so. Tammy, that BES4 class that I just did is a very basic beginner class. If you want to walk through the lessons, then if you have my BES4 book, we are currently doing a series of Thursday meetings like every other week where I'm walking them through the steps. And those are all video recorded on that group, but you have to have that book in order to be part of that group, in order for me to be fair to those that purchase, because that is a bonus of their purchase price. And I will tell you, in my personal opinion, that group is worth the price of the book, because you have gotten, they get a live lesson, and it's just like me doing a seminar basically. So and that's called Lettering So Easy for BES4. Make sure you buy the BES4 one, not the yellow book, because that's the old version. All right, so let's go back over to BES. Here we go. I'm in my BES software, and as we've talked about, Power Pack 3 is templates, and that is just like it is in PE Design as far as it has substitutable text. But this one also has substitutable elements, okay? So if you have different categories that you can go through. Seasons are not my favorite, but I like the sewings and crafts. The sports are fun. Babies is fun. So let's say I wanted to do a baby present. Let's pick this one. And there's a birth announcement in there. So it brings it up. And if we double tap on the word Alexander, that is the text, right? So let's say instead of Alexander, we want to say Andrea. And we'll say Andrea Wilson. And when was she? We're going to leave born on there, and we'll put Friday. So each field I am double clicking on, and I'm going to say they were born January 3rd of 2021. And I mean, you can change every single field if you want to. I'm going to leave those as is. But now I can come down here and say, you know, I don't want that decoration. I want something that is more colorful, more like a girl. So there's this button down here underneath Elements, and you touch Replace, and these are the elements that you can replace with. You pick an element, it pops it in, and there you go. Now you can change the colors here. So if I wanted to change that green, I can say replace, and we can replace it with a pink. I can change the gray. Let's say we do a hot pink with that. And you can substitute whatever you want to. But I personally, once I've got it done, I will click OK, and then I will change the colors. But the cool thing about this, let's say you had triplets done. You can say multiples. And all you do is go in here and add, and we can say Susan. And you can, on this one, you would probably change the weight and maybe the time. The date born would be the same, right? But they might weigh different. Let's say they weighed 8 ounces, 8 pounds, 5 ounces. They're going to be the runt of my litter. And they were born at 12:57. Get the idea? So the next one would be 9 pounds, 8 ounces. And they were born, let's do 12:57 p.m. Since we've got p.m. on that one, let's do 12, let's do 1 p.m. When you're done, you click OK. So here's Andrea. If I go to page 2 now, I'll see, what did I call it? Susan's my next one. There's Susan. And then the next page would be Sally. And you can save them all out, and they would all save at one time. When you click OK, it's done. Your template's been created. It's doing its little thing, creating it for all 3 of them, and they'll all 3 pop up in a tab, if I recall correctly. There we go. So there's Sally, there's Susan, and there's Andrea. Now, if I were wanting to change the color of born, I would just click on born and pick a color that's in there so that it's pretty and it matches up. And you can play with this all you to your heart's content. You could also put a frame around it. So if you wanted to get real snazzy, instead of just having this, you could come in and choose add design. We have frame designs as one of our categories. So you can choose frames, and you can come in here and put a decorative frame around it. Let's see. Let's try that one. I'm going to make that one way too big for this. Yep, way too big. But I'm going to show you how to fix that. So we'll make it big and huge and to fit it. And then we'll center this. Okay, so I'm getting that error message. Area too large for a satin stitch. What can I do? Come over here and change it to a patterned fill. That one actually was already a pattern, but let's click this one. Come down here where it says fill type standard. We would choose carved for this one because that's my only option. When I choose carved, I should have an option to pick my carved fill. Oh, I know what happened. Hold on. So we're going to click the plus sign next to this because there's 2 separate sections here. We have our column, which would be this one. So let's change that to a pattern fill. That would be the outside edge. If you have multiples, it's only going to give you certain options. So now we can come and grab these little columns here. Oh, doesn't like that one. So let's go back and grab these. Those are patterns. That's what we want. So let's grab this one and change that to a pattern fill as well. Now, when it sews, let's look at it in 3D. Oh, I've got some gaps that are going to happen right there. So I would need to come down here and find my pinks. Hit the plus sign because you don't want to do the runs. It's only going to let you do the column fills. There's all my columns. Let's change them from satin to something else. There you go. So now you've fixed your pattern. You've got it in a frame. Now that is a monster size design, just so we're clear on that, but it gives you those options. Now, if I wanted to create my own name drops item, let's hit new page here. And we're going to do this really quick because we're about out of time. Add design. Let's see here. Let's say we want to go designs. There we go. So in your designs category, these are in small. They look really small, but when you put your cursor over the top of them, you'll see the bigger thumbnail will flash. Click on it. Click on the design page to insert it at its digitized size. Click on your text tool and choose what style text. I'm going to put circle text on this one and say sucker. Now, If I want 2 fields of name drop, I have to make sure that I have everything set up the way I want it before I do this. So I'm going to do 2 arced text. So this is my second round of arc text, and I'm going to put it on the lower level, and we'll go mom. Okay. Now, once I've got them the way I want them, I'm going to come and set these up on top underneath the soccer mom part. And if you want to change the arc, you can make the arc stronger by pulling in this little center circle here. It shrinks the circle in. And then you want to make sure you have the handle. Let me find my hand. There, the crosshatch. Let's just click the select tool. It's easier. So you'll notice right now that name drops is grayed out, right? So the first thing I want to do is decide what kind of recipe I want. I'm going to say I'm putting these on a sweatshirt. So I'm applying my recipe before I do name drops. That's the first thing you want to do, because then we are going to apply, what am I trying to say? We're going to preserve one of them as stitches. I am going to preserve the soccer as stitches because I'm going to apply name drops to my mom. That's you can only have one field here that you can change. Actually, I lied. In circle text, you can do both. Isn't that fun? So hold on. I lied. It's when you have straight line text that you can only have one. So let's see here. Bad on me. I'm going to shrink it, and I'm going to put it around it. So our name drops is so if you do circle text, you're good. It's when you want circle and straight line text that you have to have 2 fields. So let's do that. And let's say come straight. All right, we're going to pretend that I have this absolutely beautiful. I would align it all, make sure I'm good, but just so you're clear on this, you'll notice name drops is grayed out because you have 2 rows. One of these has to be preserved as stitches, so we're going to preserve soccer. Now you can hit name drops, and you can type in add. Number 10. You just keep adding. And then you want to tell it where you want it to go. So we're going to go to C Drive, and we're going to find Cindy Facebook Live, right? Click OK. You want to name it. And you can either have it open all of the files or not, and you want to tell it what format you want to save it in. If you want to edit it, you need to save the BRF outline, the BRF file, which is the editable format. If you want to save it in other formats, you can actually do multiples at the same time here. So you could save it in a PES format, in a Janome format, in a Singer format, whatever you want to do. I'm only going to do PES just for quickness. Press save, and it's going to go at it. That is a lot of babies, Kathy. I said triplets. Not one I want to do. So it's going to take its sweet time doing what it's doing. There we go. So when they're done, you'll notice that the little timeline's gone around here at the bottom. We're going to close it, and you'll see soccer PES, soccer BRF of each file, and it has named them for you. Did I do both of the second ones? I did both Sam, sorry. That's my brain didn't work. Okay. Now, I'm going to come back up, and we're going to finish this off today because I have gone over time. So look at the weights. What weights are we talking about? All right. let me give you coupon code for lettering so easy again. And we'll finish with that. So remember that the class is at the first. That mama is dead. You're terrible. The classes are was at the very beginning of this. I gave you a coupon code for Angela's and my class. And that's the 19th, I do believe it is. We would love to see you there. If you're a beginner, it's a really good thing to go for. If you're not, you may learn a few tips and tricks that you didn't know, but we're going to give our spin on that. And it should be fun because, you know, Angela and I always have a blast and we enjoy you guys. And hopefully you enjoy what we do. Otherwise, you wouldn't show up to watch us on a weekly basis. So, all right, guys, you all have a wonderful rest of the week. Y'all know what time it is. The dog is about to start shaking her head, telling me it's time to go for a walk. So it's time to go for a walk. Until next week. Oh, by the way, next week I will be late if I get to come on. I have a meeting that goes until 4. So I will be late if I can get on, if we finish on time. So I probably will post that the class will start at 4:15 and we will go it will be a quickie. Okay. So if there's something you want to know that you think might be quick, shoot me a question. I would love to see one. Okay. Y'all have a great rest of the week. See ya.